Ventura claims Combs frequently forced her to consume drugs and alcohol and commit sex acts with male prostitutes while filming it. She says he also often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on her. The complaint also alleges that in 2018, after she tried to end their relationship, Combs raped her.
Combs' attorney, Ben Brathman, responded. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Ventura's lawyer says she turned down Combs' 8-figure offer to silence her and keep her from filing the lawsuit.
Put Sean Diddy Combs under the jail, because if he did what Cassie is saying he did, being locked up is not punishment enough for him. So you may have heard by now that Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie is suing Diddy for unspeakable and disgusting acts. I read the entire lawsuit, and yes, it looks like Cassie has all the receipts to back her claims. Honestly, it made me cry reading about what she went through, because the things Diddy did to her were sick, depraved, and demonic. Now, Diddy, of course, is denying all of this and is blaming Cassie for trying to go after his money. But get this, Diddy hired Harvey Weinstein's lawyer to defend him, so do with that information what you will. Now, in case you don't want to read the whole lawsuit, let me give you a rundown. And just FYI, the court actually put a trigger warning on the front page of the lawsuit, which almost never happens. So I'm letting y'all know in advance, I'll be talking about some disturbing things in this video. So let me first respond to all the people thinking, why did she wait so long? Because I'm already seeing some trolls accusing Cassie of lying. Cassie filed her lawsuit under New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allows individuals to file lawsuits even after the expiration of the statute of limitations. This act was enacted by May 2022, so Cassie couldn't have filed before that. Also, she was most likely under some kind of 5-year NDA that Diddy made her sign when they broke up in 2018, which means the NDA expired this year. Anyway, let's get into the specifics of the lawsuit. The lawsuit is 35 pages and describes in detail the horrific torture Cassie endured during her relationship with Diddy. The lawsuit first mentions Diddy's acceptance speech from last year's BET Awards when he won the Lifetime Achievement Award and shouted out Cassie for holding him down in dark times.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Cassie's lawsuit states that the real truth is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his behavior and disturbed demands. For Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of and sex trafficking. Cassie's lawsuit then goes on to list a number of Diddy's alleged unlawful acts. Cassie claims that Diddy SA'd her in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on her, resulting in busted lips, black eyes, and bleeding, blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in her, forced her to engage in acts with male workers while getting off and filming the encounters, ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby, demanded that she carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is, introduced her to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. The lawsuit describes these points in detail, and each one is more disturbing than the last. It starts off with Cassie describing how she met Diddy in 2005 when she was just 19 years old and he was 37. The lawsuit also points out how Diddy was still in a relationship with his late girlfriend Kim Porter when he started pursuing Cassie, who was also dating someone else at the time. Now, Kim died under very suspicious circumstances in 2018, and there's been a lot of speculation that Diddy was involved in her death. Diddy's bodyguard, Gene Deal, previously revealed that Diddy was aggressive to Kim throughout their relationship, and he also claimed that Kim was writing a tell-all book before she died.
One night, when they were at home at Kim's house on 110th Street, he wanted to, put his hands on her in the wrong way. And Kim took one of those corkscrews and ripped his wrists up and hit an artery. And when she did that, he had to rush over to St. Luke's Hospital. I met him over there to the hospital. It was me, him, and Kim in the hospital when he was like crazy. And that was the beginning of him. And that's the first thing I knew about people getting hooked on opioids. You know what I'm saying? And that was from that accident. Oh, that was from the incident with him and Kim, when she wasn't going to take that ass whooping, and she got him off of him the best way she could.
And by the way, Kim died on November 15, 2018, and Cassie filed her lawsuit on November 16, 2023. Look, you can't tell me karma isn't real. In fact, a video recently resurfaced of a psychic predicting that Diddy's downfall would begin in November 2023.
So like crazy. I am being shown November of 2023. So her death date was November 15th of 2018, but I'm being shown November of 2023. I don't think we're done with this. I feel she's shaking her head yes. Before she stare at me, then she wait, and now she's shaking her head yes. I am being shown that things are being prepared. She is showing me a trumpet. People are standing straight up. And there are people going to speak, not just about what happened to her, about other things. Something is unraveling.
Now, going back to Cassie's lawsuit, Diddy met Cassie when she was working as a model for his clothing company, and he immediately became fixated on her, offering to sign her to his music label, Bad Boy Records. Cassie describes in her lawsuit how Diddy initially acted like a father figure and acted like he was protecting her from the ruthless music industry. But according to the lawsuit, within a few years, Mr. Combs lured Miss Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle, and into a romantic relationship with him, her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man nearly 2 decades her senior. By the way, that man whose car Diddy blew up for talking to Cassie was Kid Cudi, and Cudi's spokesperson has now confirmed Cassie's account and said Diddy really set up explosives under his car back in 2012. Moving on, Cassie describes how Diddy took complete control of her personal and professional life and made it impossible for her to leave because she was in constant fear for her life. The lawsuit states, throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently Miss Ventura savagely. These were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Mr. Combs' related businesses, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss. But it gets worse. Diddy is also accused of using substances and threats to force Cassie into repeated unwanted encounters with male workers. Diddy would allegedly force Cassie to look online for male escorts, then arrange meetings with a bunch of them in a hotel room. According to Cassie, Diddy would order her and the men to wear masquerade masks and take substances before telling the males to force themselves on Cassie and do all kinds of unspeakable acts that she didn't consent to. Cassie claims that she would often get sick during these encounters and run to the bathroom to vomit, but Diddy would drag her back into the room. And one time he allegedly punched her in the face, giving her a black eye after she tried to resist the attack. While all this is happening, Diddy would film everything, y'all, on his phone or tablet and give them instructions. According to Cassie, Diddy began to call the arrangement a freak-off, or FO, and at one point he started requesting they have freak-offs every week. The lawsuit says that Mr. Combs' assistants would help set up the FOs, including by setting up the hotel suites with baby oil and Astroglide. And when Cassie told Diddy she didn't want to do it, he would threaten to release the sickening videos he filmed during previous encounters. Cassie further describes how stunned she was to learn about Diddy's terrifying power and influence, because it seemed everyone around him was more than ready to lie for him and turn a blind eye to her suffering. Diddy allegedly even had doctors on his payroll, and he'd never let Cassie go alone to doctor's appointments. According to Cassie, on multiple occasions, Diddy had her personal medical records sent directly to his email address. She then describes how she began experiencing memory loss, potentially due to excessive substance and/or head injuries caused by Diddy's attacks. She was sent to have an MRI, but her MRI results were provided directly to Mr. Combs. Cassie's lawsuit then goes on to describe a number of attacks, claiming that after every instance in which he Miss Ventura, Mr. Combs used his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence, including by hiding Miss Ventura in hotels for days at a time to let her heal. One incident allegedly took place after a party with Jay-Z, when Diddy laid hands on Cassie repeatedly in an Escalade. He then threw her out of the vehicle on Fifth Avenue, and she was eventually able to hail a cab to get to her apartment, where she says she cried in fear, realizing there was no one she could tell about what what had happened at the hands of this incredibly powerful man. There's another disturbing incident described in the lawsuit that happened in 2009 when Diddy allegedly attacked Cassie after he saw her talking to a music executive at a party in LA. According to Cassie, Diddy dragged her out of the venue, pushed her into the car, and then stomped and kicked her in the face. Cassie says that once Diddy saw how much damage he had done, he panicked and then forced his staff to bring her to a hotel suite where she was required to stay for a week until all marks on her face had disappeared. Now, there is so much more in the lawsuit, and I encourage you to read it yourself because Cassie's allegations are serious and compelling. She provides dates and places where the incidents took place, as well as the names of all of the people that Diddy allegedly paid off to cover up his criminal acts. Honestly, after reading the whole thing, I think it's a miracle Cassie made it out alive. Now, as for Diddy, you already know he's denying everything, and his lawyer Benjamin Brafman, the same guy who defended Harvey Weinstein, issued a statement claiming Cassie is making false allegations because Diddy refused to pay her the $30 million she allegedly asked for in exchange for her silence. But Cassie's legal team has now fired back, revealing that it was actually Diddy who offered Cassie $30 million to stop her from filing the lawsuit. But she turned it down because she wants justice and believes Diddy will continue to mistreat other women. Cassie's lawyer Doug Wigdor told Deadline, Mr. Combs offered Ms. Ventura 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit. She rejected his efforts and decided to give a voice to all women who suffer in silence. Ms. Ventura should be applauded for her bravery. And fans are definitely applauding Cassie, and pretty much everyone is saying the downfall of Sean Diddy Combs is long overdue. One fan on X said, convinced that anyone asking why Cassie waited so long to file charges against the extremely powerful, extremely rich man who tightly controlled her every move for 10 years has lost the capacity to think. It's incredibly brave of Cassie to do this at all. And then someone else added, put Diddy in the same cell as R. Kelly and then burn it. It's enough. But let me know in the comments how you feel about all this. Are we really witnessing the beginning of Diddy's downfall? Comment down below and then check out this next story.